Vox is one of my favorite cosmic champions in the game. I've had this guy at rank 5 ascended for a long time now, and today I am making a big showcase on him. I've been making a lot of big showcase videos lately, and I really wanted to make one for Vox because I truly do absolutely love this guy. And well, let's just get into his kit a little bit. I'm going to break down a little bit of why I like him and how his abilities work. The big thing I like about Vox is he's a cosmic champion that just works differently than most cosmics. And instead of just building a bunch of buffs to do a bunch of yellow numbers and stuff, you're building buffs to do a bunch of degeneration damage, which is really cool and really different. He starts out with some really nice immunities to a bunch of power control mechanics, and he does have special lock immunity, and he is, I believe, one of only 2 or 3 champions in the game to have that. So that is very significant for him, along with poison immunity, which is pretty great. So his key mechanic is corrupted buffs, and when a regular buff expires, it's going to turn into a corrupted one. At least like 7 of them actually turn into corrupted buffs, but all of those 7 are at least in Vox's kit. So basically you get regular buffs or corrupted buffs, and then they turn into corrupted buffs. And basically from there you just want to get a bunch of buffs, drop a special one, place your degens, and then before the degens expire you're going to drop another special attack to lock them back in as intensifies. And from there you literally just alternate your special attacks, placing degens and removing them. And an interesting thing about these degens is that they have a mechanic called fixed, and basically the fixed means that their duration can never be extended or lowered. So as far as extended goes, if you were fighting on a node with a torment debuff, the Vox wouldn't benefit from that. The degens would not get their duration extended. On the other hand, if Vox is fighting a champion like a rogue who reduces the duration of debuffs on her by 70%, it doesn't work. Those degenerations stay at 13 seconds no matter what. As far as his special attacks go, these are basically some of his nice utility sources. On the SP1 you're going to gain an Undermine, and the SP2 you're going to gain a Vigilance, and basically you are always going to have these after you throw the special attack unless you throw a different special attack twice in a row. Basically, I have an Undermine, and it doesn't go away unless I throw 2 SP2s. If I have a Vigilance, it doesn't go away unless I throw 2 SP1s in a row. As far as this SIG goes, I do think if you have a 6-star, you should get your Vox to SIG up. If you're playing a 7-star, I don't really know exactly how important the SIG ability is, because I'm not playing with 7-star stats, but I do know for my 6-star, I am very happy that he is SIG 200, because it does do a lot for him. Mainly because of the fact that you increase your own degeneration potency by hitting the opponent, so it encourages you to play aggressive. As far as a relic goes, it does not matter which relic you use on Vox. I'm using a 6-star Miss Marvel relic just to give him more prestige, or PI I guess I should say, just because I wanted him to have more PI and be higher on my profile. But it really doesn't matter what relic you give him, because he doesn't really gain a strict benefit from any of them. They're just nice to have for the striker, giving you an extra opening, and it is really important for Battlegrounds to have that opening. So we're going to start in Realm of Legends against Winter Soldier here, and we're going to show you the general Vox rotation for longer, or I guess medium length fights. In Battlegrounds it's a lot more simple, but in these fights we're going to be going for an SP1 into another SP1. And basically how this is going to work, we place our initial set of degens, and then once we throw our next special attack, we're going to take those degens back as intensifies. And now, on our next set of degens, we're going to be placing a lot more than just the 18 we started out with, and then they're going to be taking a lot harder. And once we have a lot more degens, and they're going to be taking a lot harder, we want to go for an SP2. Because the SP2 has a much longer animation than the SP1, and Vox obviously pauses his degens during his special attacks as long as they're actually hitting the opponent. So we do want that longer animation, because it just lets them stay paused for a while longer, and lets you do stuff like that, where you just finish the fight with like 18k per tick degens. So that's very nice. We're going to be moving on to Realm of Legends Vision to show you what he looks like with class advantage, because it definitely is a bit of a difference. It's not like a champion where you definitely always feel the difference when you're fighting with class advantage and when you aren't, but you know, a difference is there whether or not, so I figured I'd show it to you anyway. We're going to place our initial 16 degens, and then we're going to go back in. That is my battery warning, not yours. And then we are going to be going for another SP1 right below 2 bars of power. And we throw it, get the degens back as intensifies. I could have gotten some more degen damage if I decided to slow play it a bit more. But I didn't, and it didn't really matter anyway. So we went for my SP1 there. Normally I'd be going for an SP1 like right below 2 bars of power, but because of the fact that I have class advantage and I know that Vision is gonna die really fast, I didn't really bother doing that because I knew it could just kill him like that. So that's Vision down in 49 seconds, which is really nice actually. And we're going to be fighting against Future Ant-Man in Battlegrounds next. We're going to start the Battlegrounds fights here. Basically, it's going to be Battlegrounds, War, and then some other cool things that I've done with him. So, I don't remember exactly what meta this is. A lot of these Battlegrounds for fights were recorded a long time ago, but Vox is my favorite Future Ant-Man counter on my account. And it's just because he just kind of works. Like, that's basically all it is. Obviously the armor ups can be a bit annoying, but a cool thing about Vox is that his corrupted buffs have 300% increased ability accuracy, meaning if he does get glanced, the buffs do not care, they're going to be gained anyway, so that's very nice. And this is a footloose meta, which means it is even a bit more annoying and makes these fights slower, but it didn't matter because the amount of overkill we had on that special 2 was kind of crazy, and that was at equal ranks too, which was very nice. But next up we're going to be fighting a Red Skull, and I do really like Vox for Red Skull. It's not the fastest fight out there, but he just does it really effectively, and that's just because the Undermine makes it to where you obviously don't have to worry about Red Skull's auto block too much. So there I messed up an intercept or something, but it's okay. We're gonna farm some dex buffs because I actually want to have as many corrupted buffs as possible going into my first SP1. And he is going to trigger the auto block there. I need an SP1 before I actually get the Undermine. I'm gonna beta heavy attack, and we go back in, and I'm going to be throwing an SP1, I believe, right after this auto block, even though I should have just thrown it during the auto block, and I don't know why I didn't. Didn't make any sense to wait that out, so we did lose a couple seconds, but either way, this is part of the tenacity meta too, and that just means that these fights are taking much longer, because not only are we giving the opponent energized, but we're losing some of our degen damage. So legitimately this fight can be like 30 seconds faster without this tenacity meta, which is the one we're currently in. So Vox does not perform amazingly in this meta. In most other metas he does perform really well, I've found. So it is unfortunate that it worked out that way, but luckily you can at least see the utilities of Vox in this fight, and even though it took a long time, he just did it really cleanly. So 91 seconds is obviously not very good, but it could be like 60, 65 if it was a meta that wasn't tenacity, so I'll take it. So next up we're going to be fighting Weapon X, and this fight was really fun. This is one of my favorite fights I've ever done. Vox is good for Weapon X simply because Weapon X's regen is one of the most annoying things about him, other than the fact that he's unblockable and hyper-aggressive. His regen just makes it to where a bunch of characters just have to stall out so much, and Vox doesn't have to deal with that because of his damage being mainly degeneration. It doesn't really matter if Wolverine regens some of my basic hits because that's not our damage source anyway. So we placed 25 degens because I farmed a bunch of dex buffs, and here I am going to be going for an SP2 after a slow combo, and you're going to see It was just enough to kill him, which was really nice. And that was a 55-second Weapon X takedown, very clean. And I'm very proud of that fight. It was really nice. So next up, we're going to be fighting a Maestro. And this is a lot like the future Ant-Man fight, where I think Vox is really nice for this, just because Glance doesn't really matter to him, because he gains those corrupted buffs even when Glance exists, so that's very nice. And again, Footloose meta, where everything is just going to be a lot more annoying, because we don't have the ability to play aggressive during the degen phase all the time, just because of the fact that we can't really hit him while he's unstoppable. And that definitely is a weakness of Vox that is worth mentioning, the fact that he is susceptible to things like unstoppable. It does mess with his loop a good bit. I think that is probably his biggest weakness, because realistically he counters autoblock, he counters miss, evade is a bit annoying, but evade and unstoppable are his biggest weaknesses. He counters, or his damage just gets around pretty much everything else. It's just those two specifically that are very hard for him to take. So, very clean fight. It wasn't incredibly fast, but also fighting Maestro without a Mystic Champion in 72 seconds is not terrible. And, yeah, I'm actually kind of proud of how that one went, and I don't think it was that slow in hindsight. But next up, we're going to be fighting Shuri. And I did mention how Vox is good against Miss, because he has the Vigilance on the SP2, and in this fight we're going to get to see that in action. So, I know how to full dex Shuri's SP1, which is very beneficial for this fight, because that just means you have more dex buffs for more degens. So just like that, we have 10 dex buffs. And I'm not even going for the SP2 for the Vigilance, because I realized, hey, I've got 25 degens, this is definitely enough to kill her. I do get hit by the SP1 too, because I just messed it up there. But it does not matter, because we are going to kill her, and we didn't even need the special attack to pause the degen. So, 43-second Shuri fight, really, really fast. Very happy with how that one went. So, next up is Absorbing Man, and this is only a rank 4 6-star Absorbing Man, so take this with a grain of salt. But there are some cool things about this fight. Obviously, Absorbing Man, he is a little bit hard to fight sometimes with his resistances and his regen, just making him extremely tanky. But considering the fact that Vox's damage source is all degen, he doesn't really care about that stuff. So the only actual hard thing about this fight is Mystic Dispersion, because it does go crazy. And if Mystic Dispersion wasn't a factor with his dex buffs being so obviously spammy, I guess you could say, he would be really good against a lot of Mystics. Like, I made a video of my Gore taking a bunch of Mystics, and Vox legitimately would be just as good as Gore for that if he wasn't a source of MD with the amount of dex buffs he's proccing. So, that is legitimately Vox's only weakness against a lot of Mystics, and especially Absorbing Mans. Like, you can take that fight equal ranks and kill at about the exact same time. You just do run the risk of eating an SP3 because of the fact that Mystic Dispersion does go crazy. So I actually do like Vox for some Mystic matchups. It just is a little bit difficult sometimes. So we are going to be back in the Tenacity meta here, and we're fighting a rank 3 Storm Pyramid X, and this fight would probably be extremely fast if it wasn't for Tenacity once again. I mentioned, like, Unstoppable and Evade being his big weakness, but I probably should mention, obviously Tenacity is a big weakness of his too. And it is very frustrating to deal with. There goes 5 of my degens just like that, and she has 6 Energize also just like that. So it is a very hard thing for him to deal with. Obviously, the glance, again, doesn't really matter. The only time it really matters is when we're converting our dex buffs into expiring dex buffs, and that is more of a problem with dex itself than an actually Vox's kit. Also, shout out to getting 16 of my 31 degens purified all at once, because that 25% RNG on the node is actually 25%, so that's nice. But either way, We ate the SP1 there too because I'm bad, but 80 seconds should have been like under 60 for sure if it wasn't tenacity, probably like 50 honestly. So yeah, that is definitely a big weakness of him. I am running him in my BG's deck during this tenacity meta still, because of the fact that I don't have a lot of Cosmics ranked up, so I kind of need to. But either way, this is a Lady Deathstrike, and she is low-key kind of annoying with her regen on special attacks. It's kind of like Weapon X, where I think Vox is just good for this fight because he's not a Cosmic who relies on big numbers coming from basic attacks. He really doesn't care, so we're going to be going for a Relic into an SP2, and this Lady Deathstrike is beyond dead. We didn't even get to throw the Special 2 to pause the degens. She just died, so that's pretty cool. Next up, we're fighting Bishop, and there's nothing really much to say about Vox's utility for this fight. It just kind of works because Vox only does energy damage on the SP1, I believe at least. So that's the only time Bishop's energy resistance really matters. Again, another reason that his direct damage is just really nice. I messed up an intercept there, so I lost a bit of my health, and then I run into the heavy attack because I'm bad, but either way, this Bishop's just about to go down. I threw my SP2 too early. I should have just stopped my combo before throwing it, and then let my degens take a little bit more, but whatever. Bishop goes down just like that, and we were definitely punching down in that fight, but if I just played it better, you know, about the same time. So next up, we're going to be doing war fights, and we're starting against this Mysterio on node 4, and I do really like Vox for Mysterio, just specifically because Mysterio's SP1 has like a triple beam, and I can also dex the last hit, so that's 4 dex buffs right there for my degens. So basically it just almost guarantees that I only need one set of degens to kill him, and that is definitely very nice for Mysterio, as I hate fighting this guy. So I will definitely take the chance to kill him as fast as possible, and I only need one dex cycle to do that. So one degen cycle to do that. So we're going to get close to my corner here. I just need to wait out this last damage reflect, and then he's just going to die, because we have 24 degens just like that. And then we're going to go back in, and I'm going to go for an intercept, and then I'm going to anti-bait his specials, and then we're going to go for the relic, and then not even an SP2, I believe, because he's just going to die. So we had like almost 100,000 damage and overkill if we threw the SP2, so that would have been really cool, but we definitely didn't need it. So next up is Cap Sam on node 19, and this is a really nice showcase of Vox's Undermine, because this is the most annoying thing about Captain Sam is his auto block on special attacks, and Vox having an Undermine on his SP1 means that literally the first special attack we're going to throw in the fight cannot be auto blocked, and then we don't have to worry about that the entire rest of the fight, and Sam is an actual potato. I guess I could get clipped on an SP2 and die, but we're just not going to do that, so it doesn't matter. Never Back Down does exist, but it doesn't matter at the same time, so I am trying my best to dex the last hit of his SP1, but I'm just not getting it. But I'm pretty sure it didn't end up mattering, so let's just see what happens. I got the dex there. I have 16 degens, he throws another SP1, and then we throw my SP2, and then he's just dead. So that's Cap Sam. Again, a lot of overkill on that fight, so very nice there. And then we have another Vox fight against Future Ant-Man on node 42. This was a long time ago. Obviously, you're not seeing Future Ant-Man placed on node 42 now, but it was a cool fight, so you get to see it at least. And he handled this fight really, really well. He's just really good for Future Ant-Man in general, assuming you know how to get rid of Future Ant-Man's armors with intercepts and stuff, because you do have the power detonation on you, but also you're power drain immune, so it doesn't matter. And also, you're throwing your special attacks with relative consistency, so you don't need to worry about the actual like the actual red detonation. I don't even understand the difference of his detonation that is red and gray, at least like name-wise. Obviously, I know how they work differently, but so this future Ant-Man, he has like 7 armors, but also it's not gonna matter. So we're gonna be dexing his SP1 here, and I need him to throw it one more time. We did end up getting the degeneration on me, but that's just because of the nodes, meaning I had to bait a lot more specials. So I got parried there because I countered his heavy attack too slow. That was the only mistake I made, though. And this future Ant-Man is like beyond dead. We do not even need to touch him at this point. We have 43 degens, and Vox is just going to completely annihilate him. We barely got to see the full extent of those degen damages with 43 of them, because yeah, it was so much overkill. Either way, next up is going to be a showcase of his Never Back Down pre-fight, and this is something that I feel like every time I make a Vox video, people do want to know about his Never Back Down. Like, is it actually useful? And I'm gonna be straight with you, it's not. I mean, it really isn't that good, just because it makes baiting special attacks an actual nightmare, so it just means everything is not safe. However, there are some specific matchups where I am wondering if it is beneficial. And the specific matchups that I mean are Future Ant-Man and Shuri specifically. And the reason I say those two is because Future Ant-Man and Shuri both have special attacks that are hard to punish. So that means that if you are staying close to them, then you can get the punish and you're not losing degen uptime, or at least with Vox's Sig ability, like, you want to be hitting the opponent more to increase your degen potency, and if you are not like losing time by not being able to counter their special attacks, then obviously you're getting more degen damage. And specifically, you obviously can't counter Future Ant-Man's Special 2. You can do his SP1 if you're extremely fast, but it is difficult, and Shuri, you just can't counter her SP2 at all, and her SP1 you can, but her SP2 you can't. So those are two matchups specifically where I would like to know if it works. I couldn't really test it because you can't use pre-fights in practice mode, otherwise I totally would have showed you. But yeah, you can't use pre-fights in practice mode, and I didn't really know where to find a Shuri, so I didn't really get an example, but it is something I'm interested in, and if he'd be good for those two matchups. So we're in Thronebreaker EQ now, and this is a very interesting thing I want to point out for Vox's kit, and it is the way his damage scales, because it scales in an interesting way. Normally, you would think, okay, I'm placing degens, and their damage is based on what my attack was when launching the special attack. But actually, Vox's degens scale, damage-wise, by the amount of Furies, or I guess I should say how he increases his attack while they are active. Which I believe is one of the only champs who work this way with damage over time. Because let me say it like this. So, when you use a champion like Nick Fury, and you place a bleed on your medium, if you have Fury's personal Fury, and you threw that bleed with the Fury active, then it's going to do more damage. But if you threw the bleed without the Fury active, then it's not. Now for Vox, if you threw a degen with a Fury active, it's not going to do more damage, but what is going to make it do damage is if you gained a Fury while this degen was active. Meaning that every time I gain a Fury, my degen is just going up, and if I had a Fury when I threw it, it doesn't matter. And this is very interesting specifically for these TBEQ pads, because of the fact I have like 500% potency in aptitudes, so the Furies I am gaining from Vox's kit have 500% more potency, meaning that the degens just go wild in these fights. And imagine these fights, but like against 2 million HP. He could do it in legitimately like under a minute, or around a minute at least, with how his damage scales with those aptitudes. And this damage scaling interaction is something that's going to come up again in a fight I'm doing later, but I did find it very interesting here, just how his degens scale damage wise. So it's very cool, and I like that design, and I like how unique it is for damage over time, because it is very interesting. So anyway, this Nimrod's just getting completely destroyed. We had so much uptime on those degens left, and again, you saw me get cowardice on me. Literally doesn't matter, because again, Vox doesn't care about the attack rating of his special attacks, because the attack rating after the special attacks, just gaining Furies and stuff, is what matters. So next up is going to be whoa, I need to stop saying that. I say that every time I fight this idiot. It's Eternity of Pain Hercules. And again, this is another instance of Vox's degens being cool, because I don't care if I have a Fury from Foresight active when I throw the special attack. I only care about the Fury when like my degen is close to expiring, and I see that damage go as crazy as possible. And there are some very interesting sources of Vox's utility in this fight, and a lot of that is just because of the fact that, again, corrupted buffs have increased ability accuracy, so you literally do not care if you have Herc's Infuriate or the Node's Concussions on me, because I am going to gain corrupted buffs anyway. Now, it is a bit more of an issue when I want to actually place the degens, because I do believe those are slightly subject to ability accuracy, but gaining the buffs at least doesn't matter, aside from, again, the dex buff like actually expiring or not, because that is a issue with dex, not even an issue, it's just an interaction with dex, and not something with Vox's kit. So I'm baiting this idiot's special attack, and then we're going to go back in and I believe push him to another one, and then never mind, we're just going for them there. So we actually have 41 degens here, and we're going to see a bunch of damage as soon as I can get an intercept. I need Herc to actually throw special attacks, and then we're going to go for an intercept, and then it's not going to go crazy because the indestructible came back. My bad. Either way, the next set of degens, though, are going to actually go crazy, and it's going to be fun to see. So, I need Herc to throw one more special attack, or not, because I'm just going to go for it here. And 39 degens, I'm going to go for an intercept after this idiot's special, and then you're going to see the red numbers. It's like 31k I saw there. It's like completely ridiculous. So anyway, I messed up in intercepts there, but either way, this Herc is just about dead. We're gonna kill him with a medium attack, or a light attack actually, and that was Eternity Vein Hercules. So interesting showcases of Vox's utility and also his damage scaling with the Foresight nodes. So definitely like how that one went. And the last fights of this video are going to be against Labyrinth of Legends fights. So we're going to start off against Red Hulk here. I lied, we're actually going to be doing one more fight after these Labyrinth fights. But either way, we're going to start against Red Hulk so you can see how Vox performs against a much larger health pool. And I guess Labyrinth isn't like the craziest health pool anymore. I've seen Vox do Necropolis solos, but I didn't really feel like doing them myself because I'm not a fan of Necropolis, so I didn't really want to play it. But either way, this Red Hulk is going to be going down relatively fast, I believe, for the size of his health pool. Then again, I don't really know what's crazy for Labyrinth anymore, but I did feel like it was a lot of damage, so we're going to see a lot of that in just a moment as we're ramping our degens and stuff. So I'm going for another SP1. We have 35 degens now, and this is not even like the max he can get. Basically, once I start my final set of degens, I'm gonna have like 55 or 50 to 55 of them, and it's gonna be pretty wild. So you can see the degens here with 35 of them. We're finishing off the ticks with like 24k in one tick, so that's pretty cool. And we're going to be going for our final set of degens as soon as I get closer to 2 bars. We have a lot of corrupted buffs, and we're placing 57 degens. I believe the max is like 62 if I wanted to farm all of my dex buffs, which I didn't really care about, but it doesn't matter because, I mean, the damage here is completely insane. 35k, 36k, 37k, we're leaving him at 9%, and then we're just gonna go for another SP1, place the degens back. He evaded there, annoying, but doesn't really matter. We go for the last set of degens, only 49 of them because I didn't ramp them up as much. But also it's 49 and we're doing like 10k just like that, so yeah, that's Labyrinth of Legends Red Hulk. So that was pretty nice. Next up is going to be Labyrinth of Legends Star-Lord. So this is like, this is double Labyrinth of Legends Red Hulk's health pool, and we also have class advantage in this fight, which is nice. Definitely makes this fight a lot more enjoyable. And we're going to be doing exactly the same thing, getting our buffs, and then cycling a few SP1s before we do SP1 and SP2 for like the crazy, ridiculous broken damage. So, let's see, we're going to go for my SP1 in just a moment here. I don't know why I backed up. We're going to go for one more combo, and then we throw the first SP1 with 17 degens. Doesn't matter, that's just our initial set, so I don't really care about having too many. 8 is heavy attack because I'm bad and comedic timing. Either way, we gain those degens back as intensifies, and since we only have 17 intensifies, we're not at the max yet. We need 30 of them, and that'll be the max. And then once we bring this set of 39 degens back into intensifies, we definitely will have the max. So that's cool. He evaded there because yes, and then pushed me to SP2. But we're going to be going for the SP2, and then you can see a lot of really nice red numbers. 25k, 30k right there, and living on the edge. I don't know what that call out is for exactly, but that was kind of funny. Vox has a lot of random call outs that are kind of funny. There might have been more in this video that I just wasn't even paying attention to. There's my set of 55 degens, so now we just want to play extremely aggressive, take advantage of Vox's Sig ability, increasing the potency of my degenerations. And this Star-Lord is just melting. Like, he's actually getting destroyed. We're going over 40k, 44k, 47k. Like, the degen damage is completely ridiculous for long fights, especially when you can play aggressive. Like, obviously, we don't need to worry about not playing aggressive against Star-Lord because he's Star-Lord, so don't expect the damage to be as crazy for like Necropolis, where you have to actually use your brain, because obviously against Star-Lord we're just taking advantage of that Sig ability clause where we increase our degen damage per scythe hit. So we push him red because I'm just dumb and he wasn't playing ball with me, because the Labyrinth AI is weirdly not aggressive even though you feel like it should be. But either way, we're going to place one more set of degens, and then it's going to be beyond overkill. So we go for 50 right there, and then we just want to ramp to an SP2. He evades because yes, and then we're going to be getting to my SP2, and I'm going to hit his block for a pause, and I slow combo my way out, and he's just dead. So we could have gotten like 3 more ticks there. Didn't even matter. that's like 3 minutes, and I don't exactly know, again, like what is good and what is bad, but it felt good to me. So yeah, that you saw the numbers, like they just go crazy sometimes, so that's really cool. And we're gonna finish off the video against Winter of Woe Nebula. This is just another showcase a bit of Vox's Undermine, and also this node has the one where they have a chance to auto block, and that chance goes down per buff on you, and Vox has like 5 billion buffs, so that's definitely not something he has to worry about. And we're going to be placing my initial set of degens right there, and we're gonna get the pause. I need Nebula to do something real quick. She doesn't feel like it. Not too big a deal. I am boosted for this fight, so that is worth mentioning, but also, who cares? So we're going to be gaining our Intensifies back, and we're going to be countering her special attack just like that, and then we're going to be going for another set of degens in just a moment. Bait her special, she throws it, get the dex buff, because that's just degen fuel, want to have that for sure. And we place 37 degens, and we're gonna just absolutely melt her at this point. We get the pause, and let's see, get the dex. I'm trying to go for an SP2. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to, but that's okay, because we throw the SP1 and the final tick was like 25k, so that's definitely very nice. And our last set of degens right here, 49, definitely enough. We don't even need to play too aggressive. They just can probably take her out at this point. I also ate her SP1 somehow, but not too big a deal. And then she's dead. So that was like barely over a minute, I believe. Okay, it was actually closer to 2 minutes, my bad. But it was under 100 seconds, which is very nice. So anyway, that is my big Vox showcase. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. And I know not everyone likes longer videos, but I'll put time codes in it to help you out if you want to find something specific. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.